a number of complex and intricate experiences that are not necessarily expressed in words or pictures.
Say that one more time.
Okay. So as we discuss each one of these planes, or what we, or the common name chakras, however you want to describe it, the point that I want to bring out is that each one of these are associated with the element that represents a number of complex and intricate experiences that are not necessarily expressed in words or pictures. And that's important because we're a society that is highly visual.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So most people say, well, to see it is to believe it. Right. But these are the subtle expressions of the body, right, that you don't always see unless your vision is aligned to perceive it.
Right.
So that's, just to give insight to like why you might be explaining it the way that you are.
Right.
And it also affects body parts when you're talking about root chakras or all these chakras, because they're all lined up with glands within the body and certain parts of the body. Like the root chakra we was talking about, it is correlated with the spinal column, legs, feet, kidney, retinum, immune system, male reproduction organs. That's where a lot of people have problems with prostate cancer and stuff like that. Could be from an effect of having issues with the root chakra.
So if I take that a step further, hopefully this ain't too far off the beaten path, right?
Do you think?
But if I take that a step further, right, understanding like what these elements are associated with, each body part, each functioning organ, is comprised of a certain pattern, right? A certain functioning pattern.
Right.
If that pattern becomes distorted, that's where you run into the root cause of dis-ease.
Right.
Because it is an imbalance in function.
Right.
Right? So whenever that happens, what do people do? They might see a physician, they might see a doctor, right? And the doctor may dress the wound, right? But it's the core energy blueprint, the Most High, that heals it.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is restoring the pattern to its original wholeness.
Right.
So it's not, it's not a worshiping of the idea, right? We're gleaning an understanding of another segment of the human expression, right? Which is a spiritual expression,
Yes.
right? Another body of expression in terms of who you are,
Right.
right? So, and I'm gonna get off the horn here in a minute. If I wanna take this to something that people relate to in the Bible, right? There are several instances in the Bible where it talks about, when the body ceases, it returns to the dust,
Right.
right? And the soul remains silent. Okay, but it is still developing.
Right.
Even though it's silent, it's still developing.
Right.
And where we probably don't gain insight is, we lose granularity in what's taking place in that development. So if we attune our consciousness appropriately on this side, right, and we take this type of information, right, and you assign it to your sphere of learning, now you capture these components which you can either build upon or ignore,
Right.
whatever you choose, right, for the purposes of your development.
Right.
That's interesting. And one of the action organs is your feet.
Your feet.
Your feet.
Feet.
And I know this is up Kane's lane. The vital breath.
Yes.
The vital breath is apana,
Apana.
one of the 5 vital pranas. It is associated with elimination, governing the exhalation of the breath, digestive elimination, and menstruation.
Right.
All right. So I don't know if we're going to go any more into the Muladhara, but one thing I wanted to say how it aligns with creation or how we see creation is, I'm going to reiterate, it's the first density. It's related to the first density,
Right.
which is being and awareness, right? It covers, the color is the red ray or the root chakra,
Okay.
right? And the type of body you have or it represents is the atomic body, atoms
Yeah.
Right.
or atom.
Or Adam.
Everybody follow that?
And you can look into the anatomic system.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that is a medical expression, right? That correlates with what we're talking about.
Right. And also as we kind of move up the chakra, you'll see how we are multi-dimensional beings.
Right.
Each chakra relates to some aspect of creation. That's why you have animal tendencies, because you're going to see when we get to the second chakra, it's related to the animal kingdom,
Right.
to movement. But let me continue. Let me finish this off. The first density is related to all organic matter, earth, water, fire, and air. And, I said ether, but earth, water, fire, and air. And if we want to say time, as we understand time, because time is actually an illusion created by us, it takes billions of years spent in a timeless state of being or existence.
Right.
All right. Did anybody have anything to add to that?
Well, I would say, with saying that everything has a chakra system.
Yes.
Every animal, rock, planet, universe, it has a chakra system because it's part of the creation. Even if you go into, let's go back into the Bible again, which would be the first day.
Mm-hmm.
What was created on the first day? The heavens and the earth.
The heavens and the earth. Okay.
The ground.
Okay.
So if we continue on to these other days, you will see other things start to take place, and you're going to see them line up with the chakras also.
Interesting. I never tried to look at it in that manner.
So is that people will say it's not in the Bible? Yes, it is. You just don't have the consciousness to see it at wherever your consciousness at.
Oh, maybe
I see it,
Maybe they're not supposed to.
and maybe they're not.
Some people
to.
may not be able.
But yeah,
they're not supposed to.
I can see it. I can see it throughout the whole book. Really,
Right. So going back to the root and kind of like moving through consciousness, understanding that the elements, like we said, fire, water, air, what did I miss? Water, they interact with one another. Mm-hmm. And I said it's for billions of years. And as this interaction happens, things begin to evolve, especially here on Earth. And this evolution of consciousness moves us into the second density, which is growth and movement. All right. So you want to take it to second, which lines with the second chakra? That's where I'm going with.
Right. So let me just add one more thing for the root chakra. So if you're doing a meditation on the root chakra, the tones that normally I do toning myself. I do a lot of toning. The tone would be like and you'll start feeling it within the lower part or your tailbone. Actually, you'll start feeling the vibration. Or you can use the one called Lam. It's called Lam. And those are the vibrational, if you're going to go into a vibrational meditation or toning meditation for the root chakra.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
So moving into the second density, again, which aligns with the sacral chakra or the second chakra.
Right.
Consciousness becomes aware of different portions of itself communicating with one another. Through this communication, a second stage is reached where consciousness has learned the lessons of beingness and can now begin to respond to its own environment through this newly learned awareness. As it begins to generate a realization of space and time, consciousness takes on a new vehicle, This is what these physical bodies are. Anything you see in physicality that has a soul or insoul or has some level of consciousness in it, it's a vehicle, right?
Right.
It takes on a new vehicle of exploration. So, how does that align with the second chakra? In Hindu, it's called a Svadhisthana.
Right.
Svadhisthana. Emotions,
Relationships.
This the location. This chakra lies a mere 3 centimeters below the Muladhara, between the, I always get this word, the coccyx and the sacrum, and 2 inches or so under the navel, which is your belly button. More specifically, it is related to the upper border of the sacrum, the triangular bone in the spinal column wedged between the 2 hip bones. This site is about halfway between the navel and the sex organs and 9 inches above the seam of the perineum. The specificity of the preceding locations aside, sources differ. The Svadhisthana is variously said to occupy regions of the genitalia, abdomen, sacrum, or navel, although the latter is usually ascribed to the third chakra. That its nerve plexus lies in the pelvic region, as one might expect, seems settled, yet various sources link it to either the sacral, hypogastric, or prostatic nerve plexus within the area. Okay? So, the Sanskrit name for the second chakra, like I said, is Svadhisthana. Sva means self,
Right.
and Adhisthana means dwelling place or seat or residence. The term then means to abode or the abode of self.
So when I hear something like that, what comes to mind for me is that this is the place where you retain memories, your circadian rhythm, and timing cycles. And in a few other studies that I've seen, this is what is also known as the etheric body.
Okay.
And this is the portion of you that, like, for an example, when you go to sleep at night, and if you've ever been in a place where it's like, oh man, you're having a memory somewhere else, right, while you're asleep. This is the etheric body. Right. So like that's why you might hear people talk about or discuss things that, be very conscious about what you go to sleep about be very conscious about what you go to sleep thinking about. Right? Because you harness these memories and essentially they go with you. They don't leave. So like you ever been in a situation where like you might tell yourself, hey, body, wake me up at this time. Mm-hmm. Right? And it retains that memory, right? And your body essentially, it moves on that idea.
Right.
So.
Right.
The color is orange.
Correct. The element of it is water.
Okay. The associated glands, the gland corresponding to this chakra is the gonads or testes for men, or ovaries for women. The prostrate gland is generally oriented toward the first chakra, but in some systems it is shared between the first and the second chakra.
Right.
The testes and ovaries, never mind on that part. Body parts managed. The second chakra manages all of the sex organs, including the uterus, vagina, and the cervix. It also manages the pelvis in general and lower vertebrae. So, I mean, somebody's probably like, well, why do I need to know all this? Sometimes when we're going through things mentally, physically, we would say spiritually, but just as a whole wellness of being, holistically, you will actually feel certain things in these areas. Exactly. You may experience certain things in these areas, depending on what state of mind you're in. And certain, like you said, diseases or disorders, you may need some type of healer or person to deal with these areas to help you get back in balance.